For that technical line drive in these sorts of tracks. Again, another driver that comes alive at these circuits. What can he do as he comes through the gears down in this S14A? Look at this from Korpulinski, flexes the bumper on the tyre wall on initiation. Korpulinski deep into the outside zone, but not too deep. Just flexing, tickling the back bumper along the wall as Korpulinski now finds his way around. Look at that foot brake locked as he pushes the back end towards the wall. The track rubbering in, gripping up as he fires down the hill. Korpulinski dealing with everything thrown in his face right now as Korpulinski puts it to the wall and across the line.
Yeah, what an amazing day.
So difficult to...
You're being treated right now.
Oh, it's great.
The best of the best from around the world coming together. An incredible track in the middle of Finland in a theme park, putting it down as Pawel Korpulinski leaves the line. The Polishman sits in 11th with a 93.2 at the moment. Paints the back bumper on the all the way around that wall, now starts to get himself into the outside zone, and once again another technical line driver, a man that's used to the sim, probably done 1,000 runs of this circuit on the simulator before he even came here. And look at this from Korpulinski, locks up the foot brake, puts the bumper to the wall.
Yeah, technical is the perfect word for it, Ian. Just
smart. That's what it is. It's smart because if you get into that final outside zone and you spin or you hit the wall, then you say, well, I know what I need to do now in the lead. Here we go, they're off the line, ready to rock and roll. It's Korpulinski to take on Piscotty. Piscotty to lead first as they come through the gears down. A big clutch kick in that BMW E92 as he flicks it across the circuit. Pawel Korpulinski looks for the opening, looks for the door, shallows up the angle a little bit. He's not going to play too dangerous here as Piscotty bounces the back end of that BMW on and off of that outside zone on the wall. They fire through the middle of the circuit, and you can see Korpulinski playing it safe, very safe indeed. As Kevin Piscotty just tickles the back end off the end of that wall. He's picking up the pace now as he comes down the hill, keeps it clean, drops a wheel into that big puddle on the edge of the circuit. Korpulinski dives onto the front wheel, onto the door, no problems this time for both guys across the line.
I think because of the banking there, the water ran off there really quick, and it doesn't take home the win just because of that. So we'll see.
Well, all to play for in the second half of the run as they flick through the gears and flick the cars from left to right as they fire in. Pawel Korpulinski now puts the back end of that Nissan 206 into that outside zone. And look at this from Piscotty, no holding back. He knows that he could be in contention. But this one, both guys put the back end into the wall, smoosh the back bumpers off the wall. Look at this from Piscotty, trying to get traction out of that outside zone and get himself back onto the door of that Nissan as they fire down the hill. Piscotty looking once again to pull and try and dive onto the side of Pawel Korpulinski's S14 as they fire up the hill, both on the wall, both across the line.
Yeah, it's really
out the window for Zakaril. The anti-lag bangs from the back of the car as he comes off the line and he leads in Pawel Korpulinski. Korpulinski taking the opportunity to chase him down first. The high qualifier once again playing that game, chasing first as Zakaril puts the back end of that 2 Series into outside zone 2, follows that wall all the way around, trying to escape that wall, trying to find that perfect line to that inside zone 3 as he now works his way around. And again, another really nice lead line so far from Zakaril, but there's no shaking. Pawel Korpulinski, the Polish driver, super technical and deadly in that chase. Incredible sim driver as well as professional drifter. He's going to go too high on the bank though. Zakaril has to back out of it on the top of the bank.
Yeah, I really thought everything was going to at the last second.
Exactly that, so there we go, off the line goes Pawel Korpulinski now to lead out Marco Zakaril. And through the gears they go, flicks that car from left to right on the handbrake for quite a long time there. Pawel Korpulinski, but he gets that car dialed up, set up into the outside zone. Zakaril doing a nice job, shallows up the angle, noses the front end of that 2 Series onto the front wheel and that S14. And they go side by side into that inside zone. Room given for Korpulinski to transition as Zakaril now finds the side once again and that S14. Both guys wobble a little bit in that outside zone, but Korpulinski now starts to pull away from Zakaril as Korpulinski fires it into that second to last outside zone, and in comes Zakaril. Oh, and he gets into the wall once again.
Yeah, exact same spot, exact same issue, but this time now in the chase. So,
lines. See how that plays
man, this will be tight.
It certainly will be tight. There we go. That Mustang RTR Spec 5 DM slots into gear as he pulls off the line. Pawel Korpulinski in that 2JZ powered Nissan at 206 S14 goes for that big straight line approach down the side. He goes on that Mustang. You can almost lose to that S14 down the side of that Mustang as Dean puts the Mustang to the wall and around that long outside zone 2, but there's no shaking Korpulinski at the moment as Dean puts foot to floor. That natural aspirated V8 opens up and squeals and shouts across the circuit as Dean now tries to drive away from Korpulinski, but you can't get away from the Polishman. Dean goes nice and wide but keeps it on the tarmac, and that opens the door for Korpulinski on the final transition as he puts it to the door across the line. Risk on that final outside zone been paid off. You see Dean take a little cheeky glance out the window to see if he was still there. They come off the line. Korpulinski to lead in Dean as they slam through the gears, and a big clutch kick from James Dean as he puts that Mustang sideways, now looking for the door of Korpulinski's S14. He takes a little dive, goes closer as Korpulinski absolutely dialed and settled in that long outside zone 2. Now works his way around. This is beautiful from Korpulinski. Oh, they go bumper to bumper on the transition, and I think Dean thought there was going to be a collision, held off a little bit, but now starts to turn the screw and work himself back into the battle as Korpulinski deals with the bobble and keeps that shallow line, trying to find that grip, trying to drive away from James Dean, but Dean is there on the door across the line.
Oh man, just even a little sandwich nudge there at the very end. But
team, I need a little bit more grip, I need a little less grip, I need to do this, I need to do that. They would have felt each other out. Dean lifts the clutch and then Mustang and pops the front wheels up in the air as he accelerates down the straight, kicks the clutch to go down into that initiation, and Korpulinski now shallows up the angle, tries to find some proximity on the side of that Ford Mustang as Dean puts the back bumper to the wall all the way around. Now James Dean pedaling that car, kicking the clutch as he goes for the transition. Korpulinski looks for the side but gets lost a little bit as Dean now opens up the front, starts to drive away from Korpulinski, but you can't lose Korpulinski, that's for sure. They both transition at the same time and Korpulinski back at it again as he throws that S14 to the side of the Mustang.
yeah, Korpulinski's just got he's got James's number throughout this entire run, and things might be drying up.
It certainly might be drying up. It's heating up on track. No wonder it's drying up out there as the pyro lights off the start of the sideline. You can see James Dean mirroring the initiation of Pawel Korpulinski. Korpulinski on the handbrake that slows him down. That opens the door for Dean. And look at the aggression from James Dean. He wants this one. He's hungry to get himself in to that final four. And they fire through. Dean goes for an aggressive kick across the circuit, jumps the Mustang over the curb. He's super aggressive. He's pinned up. He's wound up. Bumper to bumper transition as he fires down the hill once again. Dean onto the side of that S14 with Korpulinski. But Korpulinski can't be shaken as he goes high on the bank and across the line.
It is very rare to see James Dean almost look desperate in a chase, and that's kind of what it looked like here. It seemed a little bit out of form. Have that much grip dialed in the car.
Or is he? Or is that going to be the advantage for Torane Kavia? He slots the car into gear, he's laser focused, he stares down the track and he kicks the clutch and he puts that car right where it needs to be. And now Pawel Korpulinski opens up the throttle and starts to drive into the side of that S13 of the Norwegian sledgehammer as Kavia balances the back of that car perfectly on the wall. But there's no shaking the Polish driver at the moment. It's bumper to bumper transition as they come in to outside zone 4, and the track starts to dry even more, even with a few specks of rain, and Kavia pulls a little bit of a gap on Korpulinski, but Korpulinski makes that dive once again and now pushes onto Kavia's front wheel across the line.
Wow.
You know, this man's renowned for his line driving, for that technical skill. He comes off the line in that lead position as the pyro erupts off the side of the track. Kavia goes for the back bumper and dives down the side of Pawel Korpulinski's S14, and he's closer than Korpulinski was, and he starts to apply the pressure as Torane Kavia starts to smash into the front wheel of Pawel Korpulinski's S14. He backs off and allows a transition as now he makes another dive down. Korpulinski goes into the wall, fires the tailgate in the face of the Norwegian as they fire down the hill, pick up the lines and look for that transition. Korpulinski's absolutely laser focused on that zone. Oh, but he shuts it down. Want it. They're hungry for it. The Finnish fans are hungry for it. The flags are waving. Everybody are on their feet as they leave the line. This is going to be one for the history books for Lauri Heinonen as he flicks that car across the circuit, goes for that first outside zone, puts a bumper to the wall, and now Korpulinski sees an opening, starts to apply the pressure, starts to put himself where he needs to be. As Heinonen takes a very nice line through the centre of the circuit, full wet track once again as he goes deep into outside zone 4, puts the back end towards the wall. Korpulinski can't be shaken though. The Polishman is hungry for that taste of champagne as they come down the hill. He flicks it through as Korpulinski sees the opening and goes for the side and the rear wheel of Lauri Heinenen's S13.
Yeah, this rain has played exactly into the hand of Lauri Heinonen. He said if the conditions...
There we go to get the green light ready to go. This could be the final run of the third and fourth place playoff. They come through the gears. Pawel Korpulinski flicks that car across the track as the rain starts to fall heavier in Finland. They touch on initiation and on the way into that second outside zone, and Heinenen's closer than Korpulinski as he starts to apply more pressure than before. Look at this, he's squeezing Korpulinski, but now he gives him the room to manoeuvre as he transitions through. Korpulinski takes that momentum and fires the car towards the wall. It's not as deep as Heinenen as they fire down the hill. Korpulinski looks for the outside zone, and Heinonen goes for one more push, one more dive up the inside as Korpulinski takes it to the wall. Heinonen on the rear wheel.
Wow, but I mean, Pawel out front, as solid as ever. That lead run, the line was amazing. The angle was great, and as much style as you can get out here in the